Hey guys, Tim Sawyer with REGENmax. We're going to give everybody a couple minutes to log in as we typically do. There's a lot of folks joining us tonight. Super excited. Hope you are too. So let's just give it a 1 minute or two and we'll get this thing going. I hope everybody is as excited as I am to spin through this webinar. It's one of my favorite topics in the world. And folks are logging in now. So like I said, we'll give it a minute or two, 7:31. You are welcome, my friend. Looking forward to this too. And while folks are logging in, guys, I want to make sure that, as I said, this is one of my favorite topics in the world. And I want to give everybody an opportunity to ask any questions that you have. I'll try to pay as close attention as I can to the comments, chat. Let's make it interactive and try to have some fun together. I think that's the best way to go about doing this. So again, it's 7:32. So we're going to give it another minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. If anybody has any questions related to anything, do not hesitate. Make sure that you type it in. We'll make sure that we get to them all. And I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Again, my name is Tim Sawyer. I'm the Director of Licensing with REGENmax. And I'm also a partner in Tru-Male Medical. Tru-Male Medical is a men's performance clinic focused on ED, hormone replacement therapy in Downers Grove, Illinois. We just moved from Oak Brook to Downers Grove. And we recently opened a second location in Delavan, Wisconsin, of all places, which is just outside of Lake Geneva. So we're really excited about that. And so I come tonight with an interesting perspective. One is I'm on the REGENmax side, right? This tonight's brought to you by REGENmax and Pelicom. By the way, Pelicom is a really good friend of ours. They're a wonderful corporate partner. They're a huge supplier of pellets, but their claim to fame is they have a patent on a really cool device for the insertion of pellets, BHRT, for men and women. It's a really sleek and elegant device. Dr. Jacome is the inventor. We use that at Tru-Male Medical, as well as our clinics in Texas, at Sexual Wellness Centers of USA. Encourage you to check them out. And of course, REGENmax is the only patented treatment for the reversal of erectile dysfunction with a 97.2% efficacy rate. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, like I said, my name is Tim Sawyer. I'm the Director of Licensing with REGENmax. You can check us out at regenmax.com, also a partner in Tru-Male Medical. My background, and this is why I'm so excited about tonight, is digital marketing. So I've been the co-founder and president of two separate digital marketing companies, both in the Inc. 500. Inc. 500 is a list of the 500 fastest growing privately held companies in the United States. We had the distinguished honor of being in the Inc. 500 in two of those companies. And the last one was focused 100% on elective medicine. So my customers were cosmetic dermatologists, plastic surgeons, medical spas, integrative medical clinics, folks focusing on ED. One of my favorite conferences in the world to attend is A4M. If any of you have ever been there, highly recommend you check it out. And I'm going to pay super close attention to the chat. Looking forward. You got it. You got it. You got it. Great to see everybody. So let's do it. Here's what we're going to talk about tonight. What we will cover, number one, is it's not about one thing. So again, the topic that we promoted is we're going to share the sales and marketing system that we put in place in Tru-Male Medical and have put in place also in Sexual Wellness Centers of USA to add an incremental $40,000 to $50,000 a month in treatment revenue. Okay, we're going to talk about sales scripts to convert more patients and increase revenue. We're going to talk about ChatGPT. Who's psyched to learn more about ChatGPT? And if you're using ChatGPT, I'm curious, send me a comment and let me know that you're using it. I'd love to hear what you think about it. I'm definitely a huge ChatGPT fan. Want to show you how to use that to quickly create compelling website content consistent with SEO best practices. We want to talk about how to use CRM technology for faster lead follow-up and greater efficiency. Strategies for successful automated drip campaigns that you can use immediately. One of the things I hear from practices all the time is we're great with our treatments, we're great with our patient care, we're not so great with our sales process. And just the idea of sales is foreign and sometimes almost offensive to medical folks, right? Because you went to medical school to learn how to take care of people. You didn't go to medical school to learn how to sell stuff per se, right? And we're going to talk about how to do that in an elegant way. How to implement self-scheduling to simplify patient engagement. Awesome. Easy to implement tips to grow the quantity and quality of your leads. So in other words, folks, the type of patients that you want to seek, that you want to treat, who are seeking the type of treatments you want to provide, right? And how we incorporated REGENmax. This is brought to you by REGENmax into our practice and generated an additional $40,000 per month in treatment revenue. Now, this is one of my favorite iconic graphs, if you will, or images. And if you think about it, what we need to do is conceptualize creating a world-class patient experience that's consistent with driving profit in the practice. Okay, so world-class care is a huge part of it. Obviously, we want to be best in class in everything that we do, but there are certain things that need to happen in every business. We need to attract, increase the quantity and quality of traffic to our website and our phones. We need to convert, increase the conversion rate of those folks that we talk to, and then we need to retain those folks to make them patients for life, right? And as you can see in this image, there's certain things that we need to do at each stage in that patient life cycle to be consistent with best practices, meaning what are the fastest growing elective medical practices in the country doing to attract, convert and treat and retain, or as you'll see in a minute, find, sell, and keep more patients profitably. So think about this. How much time do you spend on tasks unrelated to this photo that you see in front of you, right? So how much time do we spend on the website? How much time do we spend on search engine optimization, right? SEO, everybody knows what that is. Search engine marketing, which is paid search or pay-per-click. Social media, email marketing, text marketing, getting referrals, and having events. So think of the universe of the amount of time that you spend, right? What percentage of your time do you spend trying to increase the quantity and quality of traffic to your website and phones? And then look here. How much time do you spend integrating CRM technology, which we're going to talk about what that means for those of you who are unfamiliar with that? Call capturing and recording. When was the last time you listened to a phone call in your practice? Automated marketing, what the value proposition looks like in your business, your practice. Talk tracks, frequently asked questions. If you're doing treatments that require weight loss is huge right now, right? GLP-1 medications we offer them in our clinic. We need to do way better. We're terrible at capturing before and after photos. That's going to be we just started doing it. It's going to be a huge initiative for us. Review management, we're going to talk a little bit about how to make that happen. Common objections, do we spend time on sales scripts? And the big why. Why should someone choose your practice and or any of the treatments that you provide? And I'm going to keep checking in on Q&A. And then again, over here, we've got CRM, which is important on the conversion process. Practice management, for those of you who may not be familiar, previously I was the president and co-founder of Crystal Clear Digital Marketing. Crystal Clear is now part of Patient Now. Patient Now is a really big EMR. One of the things that we helped our clients with was patient processing or payment processing. When was the last time you looked at your payment processing? Do you have the right rate? And I have I'm not trying to sell anybody anything, right? What are we measuring in the practice in terms of key metrics? And then the concept of pipeline management might be new to people in terms of sales, but we're going to talk about that. Of course, email marketing, loyalty rewards, membership programs, treatment plans, automated engagement, and then again, EMR, practice management, and CRM software. That's where we're at. The first thing that we need to agree on, or I hope that we can agree on, I encourage that we can agree on, is the idea that all for-profit entities, including your practice, we have to do three things well. As a principle, let's agree on this. We all need to find, sell, and replace sell with serve and treat, but find, sell, and keep more customers profitably. And we have to recognize, and it's not offensive to recognize this, that elective medicine is a retail business. And all the laws that apply to every other retail store, whether it's Amazon or Nike or Nordstrom, pick a retail store that you love, a car dealership, right? All those same laws of retail apply to us. So all the things that they need to do, we need to do. Hopefully that makes sense, okay? Let me get someone's asking the question real quick. Please comment in the chat box to let us know that you're here. Thank you, Corey. All right. So the first concept that I want to introduce in this ecosystem is a concept called profound knowledge. What we know in advance, we prepare for in advance, especially when it comes to sales, which isn't a dirty word, or insert presenting treatments, right? And so at Tru-Male, at Sexual Wellness Centers of USA, we believe that we don't want to leave anything to chance, right? And so we know that every time we talk, everybody is unique. Every patient we talk to is unique, or client, if you want to refer to them that way, is unique. They all need to be treated differently. However, there are certain principles that we can apply that offer us the highest degree of success, the highest potential for success, right? There's certain principles. And if we know what those principles are, what we know in advance, we should prepare for in advance. So here's a simple script that we use. And it's not that this has to be perfect, and you don't want people to be reading this, but you want them to think through the concepts, right? And one of the concepts is we appreciate them reaching out. We know how important this is to them. And out of the gate, what's the first thing, particularly in my business, people in the men's performance business, they're uncomfortable, right? So their guard is up, their shoulders are up. They don't want to share. So the first thing that we always like to ask is it okay? Do you mind if I ask you a few quick questions so that I can understand you better and speak to your specific concerns? Do you mind? How do people feel when you say, is it okay? Do you mind? Right? Guard goes down a little bit, different situation, right? And if the person says immediately, well, how much does this cost? How much? Say, you know what? I'm going to write that down and I will definitely answer that question. That being said, there are a few questions I would like to ask to get a better understanding of our specific concern, of your specific concerns and goals related to performance. Does that sound okay? Right? Age, relationship, sex drive. What would, most importantly, what would solving this issue feel like for you? And that's any treatment, right? There's an emotional side of this, which is, it's not just how old are you? Do you smoke? Are you diabetic? How much do you weigh? I mean, all that stuff matters. But what really matters to the patient is on an emotional level. If somebody had erectile dysfunction, or somebody had incontinence, somebody had vaginal dryness, somebody, whatever the concern was, they were tired, angry, sleepy, whatever it is, how would it feel if we could fix that for you? Because remember, what we're trying to do is turn red lights into yellow lights and yellow lights into green lights, right? This isn't medical intake. That's part of it, but not all of it, right? And then also we want to talk about how do we describe the treatments that we provide, not just for the doctor, not just for the nurse practitioner, not just for the nurse, not just, but for the person who's answering the phone, right? A patient care coordinator. We know there's a best way to describe what we do. Should we take the time to practice in advance, right? BHRT, hormone replacement, also known as hormone optimization, extremely important for everyday life. Your body, your emotions, and overall organ function and health. The benefits are endless. After our 20s, we start losing testosterone 1 to 2% a year. This is the first line of defense in healthy sexual function. So scrap healthy sexual function. Whatever your treatment is, walk through this process, right? And have some fun. But what we know in advance, we prepare for in advance. Make sense? Okay. Now, ChatGPT. Anybody who's on this call using ChatGPT, I'm curious, ChatGPT, send us a note. And I'm curious to hear what your feedback is, if you played with it. I use ChatGPT for a lot. I obviously, our clinic, we have a medical doctor and nurse practitioners. We're not using it for clinical diagnoses, but for everything else, ChatGPT is a game changer. Okay. So, for example, I just typed in, what are the benefits of REGENmax? So think about this. REGENmax is a treatment for ED. It's already categorized in ChatGPT. And look at the outcome that I get. So if you are a licensee, or if you were doing BHRT, or if you were doing weight loss, you were doing wellness, whatever it is, integrative medicine, you go to ChatGPT and say, what can I do to improve? What can I do to increase? And the outcomes are amazing. And the better you get at prompting ChatGPT, the more accurate outcomes you'll get. So if I typed in, what are the benefits of REGENmax? High efficacy rate, 97.2% success rate. REGENmax boasts an impressive 97.2% success rate, making it one of the most effective ED treatments in the world. Non-invasive procedure, long-lasting results, and the returns went on and on and on. Amazing, right? So think of how ChatGPT could change, make you so much more efficient in creating content if you just think through. So if I typed in, if I was a licensee in Fargo, North Dakota with REGENmax, what are the benefits? ChatGPT would spew out exactly what you needed to say, being consistent, by the way, with SEO best practices. Okay. So now think about this. Why should a client, of course, this is self-serving, but think of how easy this is. Why should a client become a REGENmax licensee, a clinic? REGENmax licensee offers clinics several key advantages, position them as leaders and offer unique and patented protocol, success, increased revenue. So again, whatever you query or prompt ChatGPT, my name is Dr. Susan Collins. I have a women's health clinic focused on hormone therapy in New York City. My medical team, and then you say, what are the benefits of choosing us? ChatGPT will immediately grab the benefits. So think about how we walk through this, okay? What is it? How does it work? What are the benefits? Who's the ideal candidate? What's the potential downtime? And literally put that up, spit that out for you in 2 seconds, consistent with SEO best practices. Highly recommend. Does anybody have any questions about using ChatGPT, or are you using AI for any aspect of your practice? It's a game changer, guys. So it makes you so efficient. And then I think about this. I just prompted today, I did this before we hopped on. What are the benefits of BHRT for women? And this is just the beginning of the return. BHRT, numerous benefits for women, particularly those experiencing the symptoms of hormone imbalances due to menopause, premenopause, or other BHRT uses hormones that are clinically identical as to those. Relief from menopausal symptoms, improved mood and mental clarity. Now, if I refined this prompt with the name of my practice, my name as a clinician or a provider, my background, where we're located, all that is going to be fed back to you, again, in the form of content consistent with search engine optimization best practices. That means that content is unique to you and can be indexed with Google. Game changer. And as someone who's run huge digital marketing companies, this changes the face of digital marketing forever. Okay. So next, and if anybody has any questions on that, please let me know. Next, what I want to talk about is CRM. It's a category of software that we use, and I don't want to overcomplicate it, but it is important to understand. We use in our practice, and conceptually, let me explain it this way. We're doing certain marketing activities, okay? All those marketing activities are designed to increase the quantity and quality of traffic to our website and our phones. Period, end of story. The key is what happens when those people get to us. How do we capture that information? How do we record that information? How do we categorize that lead information? And then how do we set up automation to make us more efficient, right? Because if we're getting 100, 125 leads a month, 50 of those are just, we don't want to deal with them. How do we get to that point where we become the most effective and efficient sales machine that we can in our practice, that we get to the people we want to talk to, the patients we want to talk to, and we don't waste time chasing folks that, you know, aren't right for us. We can't help everybody, okay? So CRM stands for client or customer relationship management. In this instance, think about patient relationship management, right? It's an all-in-one solution. I do not endorse, take money from, or get reimbursements from any one CRM company. We use a company called Go High Level. I love them. I'm going to show you some of the cool things we do with them, but I don't take any money, and it's not an endorsement thing, okay? Allows us to easily manage all marketing and sales activities. Lead management, this is the most important thing. Capture, nurture, and convert leads through automated workflows and pipelines. So this does the work for us, right? If you have someone come into your clinic and they're thinking about BHRT as a female, or they're thinking about medical weight loss, whatever it is, it's not like they just call up one time, you call them back and they do it. It takes time, right? Sometimes they see a Facebook ad or whatever it is, or they might land on the website, they read a blog, but then life happens, right? They've got to go to take their kid to soccer practice, or, you know, they've got life, right? So it takes time. So we have to find a way to automate that communication to let the CRM tool do the work for us, right? Because we don't have time to call somebody 150 times, right? But the tool does. The tool does have time. So automated campaigns, set up detailed multi-step marketing campaigns, triggers and actions to engage. And I put this there to help it be simple. If they do this, send them this. Okay, so it's if then. If they click on this article, then send them this call to action. If they watch this video, then send them this, right? So it's a progression. Again, red lights into yellow lights into green lights, right? That's what it's all designed to do. Customizable workflows, integrated communication, appointment scheduling, not only just, you know, hey, we'll see you tomorrow, you're confirmed for, we use Aesthetics Pro for that, and no endorsement on Aesthetics Pro. But booking times for consultations, that can happen in telehealth, can make it really easy, particularly when you're dealing with large volumes of leads, okay? Reputation management, the ability to go and get reviews in an automated way, and I'll show you exactly how we do that. And then using tags. Tags, the reason I wanted to share this slide, because it's really important to segment our database, right? In my world, we have folks with ED issues. We have folks with hormone issues. We have folks with weight issues. So, and they're not the same. So I can't send the same messages to everybody. So I've got to create tags that identify the procedure that this person is interested in so that I can send hyper-targeted messages to them, personalized, right? We're not sending all the same stuff to everybody. That's not going to work. Does that make sense? Okay, and if anybody has a question, feel free to jump in. Track the customer journey, right? So we can use tags to track the progression of leads through the sales funnel, automatically adjust campaigns based on their status or actions, meaning what they did or didn't do, what they looked at or didn't look at. Lead scoring, the more this person engages with the practice, the more relevant they become to us, because that means they're getting closer to making a treatment decision, okay? Segmentation for re-engagement goes back to tags, and then cross-selling and upselling. Hey, what use tags to say, we did this, and now we know that this is a complementary procedure to this, so now we're going to send them this. And we bake it all into the tool, so we don't have to send the same freaking email 100 times, right? We don't have to do that. I hope that makes sense. So here's a simple screenshot, guys, that I grabbed from my CRM. So to the left, you see, these are folks coming into the tool, and I put these little Instagram messages or Instagram ads here from, or posts, I'm sorry, to mask the names. But then look at the use of tags. Okay, this is really important. So each time somebody comes in, this is a GainsWave. We have a great relationship with GainsWave. We love GainsWave. And I use GainsWave in a lot of creative ways. GainsWave is actually part of our protocol. For those of you who don't know, it's a shockwave protocol or acoustic wave protocol, super effective. We love the brand recognition that we get from them, and we use GainsWave in a lot of different ways. So this is a GainsWave lead. This is a pay-per-click lead here. These are all GainsWave. PPC Delavan is so we have a Delavan location. We're running pay-per-click ads there and using GainsWave as a way to attract them into our ecosystem. And then you've got website chat. So in just this little screenshot, you can see over the course of, half of yesterday and early this morning, 7:56 a.m., 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 inquiries into the practice. One's a website chat, one's a PPC lead, one's a monthly offer for hormones, and the balance are GainsWave leads, okay? So I'm tagging each one of those because what that does, it'll trigger different messaging based on their status and the treatment that they're interested in. I hope that makes sense, right? Really important, and will save you a lot of freaking time, okay? Now, here's some other ways to show you how we communicate with our customers or our patients, right? One is every time a patient comes into our practice and does a treatment, we send them a note automated that said, hey, how'd it go, right? So how was your appointment? 5 stars, all around, nurse very professional, Christina very professional, very enjoyable experience. So what am I going to do with that snippet? I'm going to screenshot it, capture it, and then put it on the website, right? So every time someone comes into the practice for an appointment, we're saying, hey, how did it go? Not everybody responds. And sometimes the feedback may not be great. Good. Now we know. It always shocks me why people are afraid to solicit feedback from their patient base. It's the greatest thing in the world. And then here you can see a follow-up where this person is starting to go cold, right? They inquired, they didn't do it, and now we're saying, hey, Michael, I don't want to give up on you. Even if you don't end up choosing GainsWave, it's still great to learn if it's a good option for you. We don't have to type that. Nobody sent that to them. It's automated, right? And then we say, hey, by the way, check this out. And we want to encourage them to go to the video, see it. You get the point. And it's think about the brain damage of trying to remember if you had 100 people in your pipeline, sending them one-off messages, powerful messages, videos, follow-up, white papers. You can't do it, right? You just can't do it. And this is what it looks like. So here are filters where I'm saying, okay, this is a lead that came through my website. That lead that came through my website is different than a lead that came through PPC, which is different than a lead that came through Gainswave, which is different, which is different. And then I love this here, and it's tough to see, guys, but we have such a high volume of lead generation in the practice, and there's a lot of things that we do that. We like to provide the patient the opportunity to self-schedule. So we'll send them a text that says, hey, thank you for your inquiry. We follow up with a call, and then we say, by the way, your next steps are, you can see it here, you can schedule on my calendar, click this link. And the patient who's interested clicks on the link, and then they schedule a 15 to 20-minute consult. And what do we do? If it's Gainswave or whatever, if it's Gainswave, we send them a video that says, got your note, looking forward to speaking with you. In the meantime, please check out this video. And the person goes, okay, will do. So what we're doing is we're automating red lights to yellow lights to green lights. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I don't see any questions, so we'll keep going, okay? Using video testimonials. What's interesting is how much pushback I get from people who say, well, you don't understand. I'm in Chicago. People in Chicago don't like to give reviews or testimonials. Or I'm in LA, Beverly Hills, you don't understand. Or I'm in Washington, D.C., you don't understand. Or I'm in, you don't understand. I do understand. What I understand is if you do a great job for someone, it's okay to ask them to recognize that. And think about what we do. We're freaking treating ED. And this guy, Casey Kalicki, did a 45-minute video test, not one penny, 45-minute video testimonial talking about his journey, his concerns, his apprehension, nervous about disclosing to his girlfriend, the whole thing, the costs, how he got over that. And same thing for Kimberly Berry, who we treated with serious sexual health issues. She went on for 45 minutes. And again, we didn't give her anything. She was just excited. And how did we get that? Because we're communicating, automating communication to our patients. And when they raise their hand, we're not afraid to call them and go, great, let me grab an iPhone. Let's do it, right? It makes a huge difference, okay? Authority marketing, and I'm trying to track to 45 minutes, guys. Authority marketing webinars, just like tonight, right? So we had a bunch of folks sign up for tonight, right? Even if 20 people showed up, 20 practices showed up tonight from our automated marketing, which is text and email, which is how we invited you to come on this webinar, right? What's the cost of that? Zero, right? We create compelling content that gets you to click on it. And then probably many of you, and it was almost 30 plus that registered, right? Many of you have probably already heard from REGENmax because we've already reached out. We're trying to build a relationship with you. We want to provide great information, great content, but at the end of the day, we're trying to turn your red lights into yellow lights and your yellow lights into green lights, right? It's the same thing from Tru-Male Medical to REGENmax to your own clinic. That's the way. There is if we look at all this stuff, particularly when people think about pipeline management and they don't like the idea of sales, just like treating a patient, there is a correct way that offers, not bulletproof, that offers you the highest probability of success with that patient. Can we all agree? There is a best way, even though it's called the practice of medicine. There's a best way. Well, there is a best way to interact and engage with your patients that offers you the highest probability of profitability. So why wouldn't we do that? It's proven, right? If we take care of our site, if we take care of search, if we use search engine marketing or pay-per-click, if we use social media well, if we do webinar marketing, if we get video testimonials, if we use CRM technology for automation, and we have good treatments, we're going to win. Because what percentage of practices are going to take the time to do that, right? And think about it, 80%, 80%, probably 90% now, 80% a few years ago, 90% of customers are going to find, patients are going to find you on the internet, right? Do you spend 90% of your time, energy, and effort chasing these people? Nobody does. So it's inconsistent. You think, hey, I want to attract all these people. And we go, okay, well, here's what you need to do, right? So there's a disconnect there. We need to break through that. That's the goal. Hopefully that makes sense. And then again, the question becomes, and I'm trying to track that we get you done in time, how can you integrate these best practices to find, treat, and keep more patients profitably? Because that's what it, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, right? How do we do that? And this diagram outlines perfectly how you do that. We've got to pay attention to the site. We've got to pay attention to search. We've got to pay attention to pay-per-click or SEM. We've got to focus on social media. Got to do email marketing. We've got to do text marketing. We need to get referrals. We need to have webinars and events to attract patients to our clinic. And that offers us the highest probability of success. And that's really what this is about, is to help you understand. People say, well, what's the most important thing that you need to do to get an extra incremental $40,000 or $50,000 a month into your practice? It's not one thing. It's absolutely not one thing. It's a system. It's about all of it. And just like any ecosystem that exists in the universe, if you ignore one or two things, right? If you've got a pool and you don't put chlorine in it, yeah, you've got a cool pool. It's not going to be fun to swim in because you've ignored a critical component, right? It's the same thing with sales and marketing. Yeah, you've got a great practice. Awesome. But we can't neglect the critical component of we need to attract, convert, and treat, and retain those patients to get profitability, right? And even in our own clinic, so we have a treatment protocol that's a year long, and we build a really good relationship with our patients, and then they've got to come off that treatment, and there's a transition period, right? They've got to think, ooh, they get nervous. So we have to find a way, just like it says down here, when it comes to retaining people, that we have membership programs so that they can have a gentle transition from coming in every 2 weeks over a long period of time to getting into our membership program. And if we've got 5 or 6 guys that entered the program a year ago, every month, that's another 5 or 6 guys that are coming off the protocol. And we need to have a plan in place so that we don't wait to the last day, because it makes them anxious, first of all. We don't wait to the last day to have that discussion. We start talking to them in advance, both in the clinic, through automation, so that we're in a good spot to grow the clinic. And that's how we grow the clinic. So I want to make sure though, like I said, I'm trying to track, I promised everybody 45 minutes. We've got about 5 minutes. Does anybody have any questions whatsoever related to any of the topics that we discussed tonight? I appreciate some of the chats that came in. The most important takeaway, like I said, no one is going to be an expert overnight, but let's at least create folders, right? There's a folder for the site. It doesn't mean you have to write content on the website, although I would suggest that as a medical professional and someone who's used to doing research, using ChatGPT levels the playing field. You will become the best digital marketing content writer or copywriter for your practice, and you can do it 5 minutes a week. You could create unbelievable content. I really do encourage you to do that. So like I said, my name is Tim. I'm the clinical director. I wish. Head of licensing with REGENmax. REGENmax is the first and only patented, clinically proven non-surgical therapy to reverse the root causes of ED without a prescription. Benefits to becoming a licensee. Number one is, as soon as we have a relationship, we become digital marketing best buds. So everything that we're doing at Tru-Male we can provide all those services, feedback to you as a licensee, right? Exclusive access to a patented high demand ED treatment. I think we all understand that ED is the future. You can Google it. It's a huge market, obviously. We have protected territories. How many people are on this call that bought a laser or some other medical device a year or two ago, only to discover that that manufacturer sold the same device across the street, across the hall, in the same building? We get it. It's not, no, we're friends with all our device providers. We're not bashing them. The reality is that's not how that world works, right? Well, we understand and respect the fact that if you're investing in creating or getting involved with a license that provides you some differentiation, you should be able to be differentiated, meaning not put somebody right next to you, right? We're not going to do that. Increase revenue with exceptional revenue ROI on the equipment that you need to do it. Again, we're not equipment manufacturers, but we have great relationships with those folks. And obviously, as you can see from tonight, comprehensive marketing and training support to make this happen in your clinic. Best part about what we do is in clinical trials, REGENmax has a 97.2% efficacy rate in a clinical trial of over 250 men. So what we do works. We treat women as well. We encourage you to check us out at regenmax.com. Let me just go through these real quick. Thanks for the full guide. How would a small practice begin implementing these steps? So that's a great question. And the first thing I would do, depending upon the nature of the practice, but look at simple CRM technology. Okay, that's number one. Meaning, we all, what we have to understand, it's not offensive for someone to come into our ecosystem and not make a decision to spend, in some cases, thousands of dollars on the first introduction. It's not offensive, right? It's not offensive for a patient / customer to say, how much does that cost? And then to take a minute to figure out how they're going to pay for that. That's not offensive. So what we need to do is when that person comes into our ecosystem, we need to have a way that we can automate nurturing that relationship. So the first engagement, for example, if GainsWave is part of the GainsWave shockwave therapy is part of the REGENmax protocol. If someone comes in interested in shockwave therapy, well, maybe today they're not ready. So what I need to do is have automation in place through this CRM technology. Look at Go High Level. Look at, there's many, right? But come up with a way that you can ingest a prospect who's not ready to make a buying decision today, and that you can nurture them over time so that you don't have to do that on your own. The other thing is, if you're a practice interested in doing ED treatments, obviously, and also sexual wellness for women, you want to look at finding good partners, REGENmax being one of them. In Tru-Male Medical, we use REGENmax, that's the primary, but we also have a decent relationship with GainsWave. GainsWave has incredible brand recognition. Encourage you to check them out. It's not a ton of money. The toughest thing is in elective medicine, Google what you do, whether it's an ED treatment or hormone therapy or weight loss. There's a million people that do it, right? So you've got to find a way to stand out from the competition. So I would start with looking at your website, right? Just the blocking and tackling. Go on your phone and see how your website looks on your phone. If it doesn't look cool, if it's clunky and it's not nice, well, 70% of consumers start their search on a mobile device. So just look at the mobile responsiveness of your website. Look at some brand partnerships that you can come up with, whether it's REGENmax, people like GainsWave, whatever it is, to give you that extra lift. And then have technology beyond your EMR that allows you to manage your pipeline. It's pennies on the dog, guys. Like a CRM tool, cheap, and you can get somebody to set that up. I hope that answers my friend's question. That's where I would start if it was me. The bottom line is, I've got a lot of friends. I've been in elective medicine for more than a decade, and if I had a nickel for every friend who came to me and said, I bought this device, I paid $250,000, it's a coat hanger, I don't know what to do, right? You need to think about how can how can we increase the quantity and quality of prospective patients into your practice to get those devices activated? That's the missing piece, right? You could, yeah, there's great technology out there, but these 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 devices aren't going to treat the patient on their own, right? You got to get people to come in and explore that. You're welcome, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm grateful for that. So, are there any other questions? Like I said, we're tracking towards 8:15. It's 8:16. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I want to encourage you to give REGENmax a look. The treatment protocols are amazing. We've got I knock on wood because it blows my mind. We've had REGENmax in our clinic now for a year. There's over 60 men in the protocol, just about a year, 60 men in the protocol, and we do not have one fail. And our oldest patient is 87 years old. And it is absolutely an amazing blessing to see him come with his wife and enjoy the fruits of his hard work, over 9 decades, right? And still be sexually active. We love that. But whether it's ED treatments, women's health, whatever it is, you got to have a plan, right? And just buying a device or creating a treatment protocol, whatever it is, that's cool. But we've got to find a way to get people to come to the clinic. That's the magic, right? And so, it's kind of like the landscape of practices. It's littered with folks who have spent millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars in technology and treatment protocols and licenses and all that. If you don't have a strategy to find, treat, and keep more patients profitably, more likely than not, it's going to be a really tough road. So in addition to having a bulletproof therapy with a 97.2% efficacy, we've got great sales and marketing strategies to help you actually get people into the protocol, right? Good quality paying patients with high profit margins on those procedures. And we can show you how to, in addition to attracting them to the practice, how to convert them, right? Like, how do you have a conversation with someone on a treatment that costs $10,000? You need to think about that in advance. And that's the takeaway: profound knowledge. What we know in advance, we prepare for it in advance. Once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Feel free, you can see my email here. Shoot me a note, reach out. I'm sure Corey, Ginny, Tommy, all the folks are following up with you guys already. We encourage you to give us a look. Happy to take a call. And if you want me to just take a quick look at some of your marketing and just a complimentary 15-minute analysis, feel free to shoot me an email and I'd be happy to do that. I want to thank everybody for joining us once again tonight. Hope you all have a wonderful night and hope you all enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll see you on the field. Have a great night, guys.